Hello, my name is Romola Hodas, and I'm an author and a consultant and a public speaker. I just published my book, The Princess of 42nd Street, Surviving My Childhood as the Daughter of Times Square's King of Porn. My dad was the porno king of New York City. And you are listening to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool. I'm Jewel B. Today's guest is an entrepreneur, consultant, healer, public speaker, and the author of the well-received new memoir, The Princess of 42nd Street, Surviving My Childhood as the Daughter of Times Square's King of Porn. She is Romola Hodas. Romola, welcome to So Booking Cool. Glad to have you on, and how is everything?
Thank you very much. Everything's going very well, thank you. It's a little overwhelming, but it's going really well.
Is it because of the holiday season, would you say?
No, it's just with the book coming out, everything that's been happening is just a bit overwhelming, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm starting a new career at 61, and it's a lot, but good.
Wow, that's awesome. Are you referring to creating harmony?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also I'm working on public speaking, you know, to talk about my story, which, you know, is a lot about the history of 42nd Street, because nobody knows that Marty Hodas almost single-handedly created 42nd Street. And the life that I had, I chose, you know, alcohol to help me escape. And then I decided that that's not what I wanted to do, and learned through moderation management how to moderate. And now I help people create a balanced and healthy relationship with alcohol. And it's really my passion, because it saved my life learning how to do this.
Wow, Romola. Wow. Yes, speaking of, you know, your book, much of your experiences during that New York City scene, as you said, Times Square, is portrayed on the hit show on HBO The Deuce, and your father, the legendary Marty Hodas, you know, is a character on the show. So how has this impacted your life since the series launched, and what are your thoughts on the show?
Well, I have actually become friends with the actor Saul Stein, who plays my dad. But before that, the first season, I had to sit with a girlfriend and watch it, because it was very surreal, really surreal. Watching, you know, Marty Hodas, you know, it was weird. And they get some things right, some things wrong, but it's very interesting being friends with this man, also Saul Stein. And, you know, my big dream is to have a spin-off. And, yeah, that's really what I want. I want a series about this. About my story.
Yes, Romola, because I was going to say, and to all the listeners out there, you need your own show about your life. Seriously.
You don't know how many people have been saying, so you're going to do a podcast. You're going to do a podcast. I'm like, I don't know. I never thought about it. You know, a lot of people were telling me that I need to do a podcast on, you know, moderating alcohol. Because truly in America, if you drink too much, you're an alcoholic, which is totally not. You know, there's many more problem drinkers than there are alcoholics, and us problem drinkers need a place to go so we don't become alcoholics. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm cut out to be a podcast host, but who knows?
A podcast could work, but I'm also thinking like a series, you know, like how you're a part of your father's story and what he built on Times Square is a series like that. Like, that's really what I want. I want my book to become a series, and I've been, you know, reaching out to producers. So one of these days you're going to see The Princess of 42nd Street on, you know, Netflix. Yes, absolutely. Listen, the book it's a movie, but it's your life, of course. So it's, you know, it's real. What is it like when you are putting your life experiences into a book for the world to read and learn about?
It was so hard. Like so many people said, oh, it must have been really cathartic. And no, it wasn't. I've been in therapy since I'm young to learn about myself and how to be happy. And writing this book, you're going, like, one chapter takes weeks. And you have to go, no, I wouldn't say this, and no, she didn't hit me then, and yes, she got the wooden spoon, and yes, my father called me fat moly, and over and over and over, it's like for a year or whatever, I was just living in hell. It was really hard, and I certainly was drinking a little bit more than I had wanted to, knowing that I'd get a handle on it, but it was like very hard. I don't really mind people knowing my story. Mm-hmm. If anything, I really wanted to show people that, I shouldn't say no matter what you go through, because I've never been through war or whatever, but, lots of what we go through, we have a choice. We can let it keep us damaged, or we could say, I'm going to be Romola Hodas once, and I want to know what happiness is, and I'm going after it. And it's much easier to be miserable because you don't have to do anything, to decide, geez, I want to write a book. And, I ran a business for close to 25 years selling to the natural food industry. I mean, you need to get up and, plan it out and make it all happen and train your reps and, and then you turn around and you go, wow, I'm proud of myself. Look what I did, instead of, sitting around and doing drugs or drinking and watching, Ellen DeGeneres on TV all day long or whatever. I wanted to be more. And so I worked on it.
Your book is also, it's very revealing and it's definitely inspirational as well. What has been the response that you have received thus far? It's still early, but yeah.
Well, I had a 2-page article in the Daily News, and the journalist was just blown away. He just which really made me feel good. I think if anything that this book has done, I think it's made me accept that I'm a strong person and that I really went through a lot. I don't think I really acknowledged how rough I had it until this book, until lots of friends and people were going, wow, I had no clue. How are you so normal? That's what a lot of people say. How are you so normal? How are you so well adjusted? And I, my response to that is because I want it. I want to be happy. And so what did that mean? And I want to, one of the largest things that I've done in my life that's helped me is learn to be kind to myself, because I was criticized brutally criticized, things that my father said to me. He never called me Romola. He called me fat moly. How do you walk out of the house looking the way you do? It was awful. My mother, was ill, and she was very jealous of me for functioning or whatever, and it was awful. So I knew at a young age, you're going to be messed up. How could you be any sense of healthy when you have no clue what that means? When your mother's insane, your father's also psychotic and sadistic and calling you all names. So I just knew I needed to find out how to undo what my parents did. And that was really what the goal was back then. I got to undo what's happening to me here because I'm not going to be happy, and that's when I also realized, okay, I'm undoing what was done, but then we need to go further. Who do you want to be? How do you get there? And I read a lot of books and, with the internet, I listen to Oprah and Deepak and Ram Dass and Eckhart Tolle and Esther Hicks, and just redid the records in my head. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, you're in a bad mood. Let's see how we can get out. Having teachers teach me, like they were my parents or something. I used them to teach me how to think better, because, I'm going to be with me the rest of my life, so I better learn how to talk right to myself inside my head. And being kind and patient and loving to me, has been a really big gift, because it changed my life immensely.
With you touching on personal events that have happened in your life, such as your mother having bipolar disorder, when you guys actually didn't know, and, child abuse as well that you went through, I'm so glad that you were able to survive all of that. But Romola, what do you also think can be done to prevent these things from even happening in the first place?
Well, I don't know how you can prevent a parent from being abusive. That parent is abusive because their parents were abusive, or something's wrong with them. So I think more, if you are living with an abusive parent, what can you do to make sure that you're not an abusive parent or an abusive partner or abusive to yourself? That's more of the question that I would ask. What was your child? And you don't have to come from heavy duty abuse. You could come from a family where a father just wasn't around a lot, and a mother was kind of neglectful to you. That creates a lot of problems when you're not properly loved and adored and cherished. That creates a lot of stuff. You don't have to go through all the hell that I went through to not be feeling loved and knowing how to be good to yourself. And, if you're here on this earth plane, and now, many of us are living long, why not figure out how to be happy? That just made sense to me.
And you worked on The Princess of 42nd Street for 5 years?
My dad, my dad died 4 years ago. And I started 3 months later, which was really not such a terrific thing to be doing when he died. But I did, because in my mind, okay, Dad passed. We said we were going to write a book. Let's go. Instead of healing and whatnot. And my first ghostwriter was horrible. And I left her after a year, and then I stopped writing for a year because I was just so hurt. It was my dream. How did I create that nightmare? But the woman who helped me write my book, Elizabeth Ridley, wow, she was just perfect. So, yeah, took me about 4 years.
What was the difference in between that ghostwriter and then Elizabeth Ridley?
Elizabeth listened to me. Mm-hmm. She got my voice. When you read that book, that's my voice. She got me. She made it a good read and did so much research. But the energy of that book is my voice, where the other ghostwriter, when she wrote things, she was like, and mommy and daddy. And I'm like, I would never say mommy and daddy or certain words that she was using. I'd be like, Donna, I don't say that word. And Donna, I would never do that. It was like, and then she also tried to rob me. But besides that, she just didn't get me. And the book was very dark, and so, I'm not a dark person. I went through a lot, but I'm not dark. And I didn't want my book to be dark, and the book isn't dark. I wanted there to be humor in it. Why in the world would I want to write a book that people are going to want to close after the second chapter because it's too hard to read? That doesn't make sense to me. So it all worked out.
It sure did. And it's definitely a page turner. So how did you go about finding the right publisher? How did you know Riverdale Avenue was the right?
Well, about 3 years before my father died, I just started to do some research on ghostwriters and whatnot. And I had found Gotham ghostwriters in Manhattan. And they loved my story. They were the ones that helped me find the first ghostwriter. You know, they had given me names, and I interviewed many ghostwriters. I actually interviewed Woody Allen's ghostwriter, but that just wasn't going to work. And so I just had been in that world. And when I started to write, I went back to the owner of Gotham Ghostwriter and said, I'm back, help me. So he helped me. He was the one who got me quite a few publishers, and Riverdale was one of the ones that he suggested for me. And I liked them because my book came out a few days before the second season of The Deuce, and I kind of wanted that. And also, if I were to go with a regular publisher, that would take 1.5 to 2 years, and I just didn't want it to take so long. So I went with Riverdale, that is a hybrid publisher.
For those who don't know, what is a hybrid publisher?
Yeah. A hybrid publisher does print on demand. So, Amazon is really where most of book sales are. And if, Barnes & Nobles wants the book, they need to go through Riverdale, because let's just say Barnes & Nobles wants 10 books. Riverdale has to print 10 books. And if they bought it through Ingram, if Barnes & Nobles bought it through Ingram, they would not be able to return it. So you have to go through Riverdale, because Riverdale will let Barnes & Nobles or whatever other bookstore return the book if they want. Does that make sense? Was that clear?
So Ingram is
where all the bookstores buy their books. If they bought my book through Ingram, they would not be able to return it to Ingram because it was print on demand. So you have to buy it through Riverdale Avenue Books, and then if, Barnes & Nobles only sells 5 out of the 10, they can return it to Riverdale. That's the difference. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So speaking of The Deuce, and you mentioning that you've become friends with Saul Stein, who does play your father, Marty Hodas, did he ask you for any advice and any tips into playing your father?
Well, he said, I wish I would have read your book before they filmed, because I got a much better idea of who your dad is. I'm like, oh. So, they didn't even know about me. They got their information. The producers got their information from all the newspaper articles and whatever about my father, which some of that wasn't right. But, they didn't know that, and they didn't think, I guess they didn't really care to ask, a family member what's right or wrong. They didn't, I guess they didn't want to be bothered with all that. I don't really know, but, they didn't know about me, and they know about me now, and I had, approached them about doing a spinoff. So we'll see. I believe it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to speak that into existence.
That's right. We're doing it right now. Thank you.
That's no problem. By the way, what are your thoughts on manifestation and speaking things into existence in general?
That's the way I live. That's my answer to that. I really, and Esther Hicks helped me a lot with that. Do you know Esther Hicks?
I know
Abraham and so the law of attraction comes from really them. Esther Hicks channels an entity called Abraham. Whether you believe that it's an entity or not, what she teaches is fantastic. It's really fantastic. And I believe in that. She believes that in order for your life to be good, you have to be feeling good to bring good energy to you. And it's not like you can never be sad and never be depressed and whatever, but it's a lot about not allowing yourself or working on not being depressed for so long. I mean, if you have a death and all that stuff, that's normal. But, some people are just miserable every day. Mm-hmm. So if you're miserable every day and you're like, crotchety every day, a lot of not such terrific stuff happens to you. But if you, wake up in the morning and say, thank you, God, for this home. Thank you, God, for my dog. Thank you, God, for my nice hair. Thank you for my health. Thank you for the food in the refrigerator. Thank you. This day is going to be great. It's like I'm having a lot of nice things happening to me now. And I totally believe that the universe is helping me. And I really, what might sound weird to you, I feel my Father's presence so much. And I see my Father going, you go, girl. You go, girl. I'm sorry I screwed you up, but look what happened because I screwed you up. You go, girl. I really feel my Father looking out for me, and it's very, very strange. It's really strange, but that's what I feel. I don't know if it's in my head or whatever, but I feel like I'm being looked after. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and I bet he is proud of you, looking down.
I think so. And I don't, it's funny, like with my mother, I don't feel her. I don't feel her presence, and I don't really understand that, but I don't feel her presence. My mother, as angry as my father was at me, because I used to fight with him fiercely. Don't you touch those kids. Don't you talk to me that way. Leave my mother, my father, I believe my father had some kind of respect for me, even though he never ever said it. My mother, on the other hand, my mother had a lot of hatred for me. She just did. I don't know that she was capable of loving. She was just wicked. In her illness made her that way. I mean, when my mother died, she was totally insane, playing with her own, stuff on the walls, and, she was gone. So I don't know. I don't feel her, but I do feel my father, and it's very interesting.
I saw some reviewers say that they cannot wait for the sequel to your book. Can we expect one?
Well, I really have to make this book happen, As I said, I had somebody help me write the book. I wish I could write as good as Elizabeth, this book first has to help my career happen. It has, before I can take another year to write a book, I would love to. That's the plan. I'm putting that out to the universe. Yes. So let's say yes, there is going to be a sequel, but I do also want to write a book about moderating, tools and information about moderating your drinking, because that saved my life. Yes. I still drink. I love martinis. I love Pinot Noir, but I do it in a way that I'm proud of myself. Do I mess up sometimes? You better believe I do, but mostly I am a responsible drinker, and I'm super duper proud of myself about that. And I want to help other people with this. That's really what I want to do. So,
do you have any tips for anyone who does want to start their own business?
It depends upon what type of business, but if you want to start your own business, you need to know exactly what you want to do. You need to be as clear as possible on how do you do it. What is it that you're doing? Who's your avatar? Who are you trying to reach? How can you do that? And I mean, it depends if you're talking about a business on the internet, if you're talking about wanting to write, all I know is you never quit. Yesterday and the day before, I was like, I'm going to watch a movie. I can't do this anymore. You have to be your own PR person if you don't have, $3,000 a month to have somebody do it, and this is not my thing, being on the internet, making da-da-da-da-da. And I said, you know what, watch a movie, and tomorrow you get up and you start all over with a cup of tea and you do what you got to do. You just don't give up, even if, there are some aspects of your job that you just hate. I'd rather be out there doing interviews, being on TV, doing public speaking, having my consulting, all the stuff that gets me an interview or, there's so much legwork to do. And it's not my forte. I don't like doing it, but, you got to do it. So.
You're 61 and you're just getting started.
Don't remind me.
No,
yes.
That's a great thing.
Yes.
No, yeah,
yes.
That's still young.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really believe that I'm dying at 96. I really, really believe that. And if I live longer, good for me. But, if I'm dying at 96, that's a long time to be alive. I got, it takes 2 years to start a business, at least 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, big deal.
Yeah.
I just got to make sure I have enough money coming in. That's the thing.
But see, I love it because you're such an example that, you're never I feel like some people, they put a time limit and an age limit for when they can go after something, go after a passion of theirs. And I love whenever I see that somebody is just proving that wrong.
Can I tell you something? A friend of mine last summer, 85 years old, she went skydiving.
No.
85. Yeah. She still has a business that she does reflexology. That's right. It's like, it's all in our, look.
That's amazing.
I grew up at 61. You are close to retirement. I had to do a whole bunch of undoing in my head, because this is a new thing for people my age. I'm living, what you guys are going to be comfortable with. This is all new. I'm supposed to be retiring the way that I grew up when I was younger, and I'm starting a new life. So it took a few years for me to go, you got to undo that, girl. You got to undo that. So that's the way you grew up, thinking that you it's not happening. It's not, no, and it took a lot of inner work to Romola, you're 21, you're starting, that's what I would say to myself. You're 21. That's the energy inside you. That energy of 21, moving, energy, motivated, and that's what I would tell myself. You're not 58 inside, you're not 59, and that's the kind of talk I would say to myself. Like right now, I'm 61. I feel 45. I don't even know what 61 means. It's like, what? So it's so much the way that you talk to yourself in your head. And if you don't learn how to talk great to yourself, life's going to be really, really hard, and I wanted, I had enough hardness. My father passed away 4 years ago. Okay. He was a menace for all those years. And then when he died, his wife, that cruel, cruel thing, wanted to steal all of our money. It was awful. My second book's going to be, it was rough. I've had a rough life, but I just want to be happy. So, it's like, is the glass half full? Is the glass, don't get me wrong. There's been lots of times when I was like, is there a God? How could God let all this happen to me? I really stopped believing in God for a while because I couldn't believe everything I went through from, like, never mind this first book, of what happened to me from 2006 to 2016, 10 years. I mean, I know people have hard time for 2 years. 10 years I could not get off my knees. It was horrible. But here I am, living in Florida and having a little place in New York, and I'm doing Airbnb, and I'm making some money, and I'm doing interviews with you, and, you know, here I am on the other side of all that hell. So, and I just kept saying to myself, I don't know how this is going to end. It's going to end, Romola. You're going to be around till you're 96, so just do not ever give up. Don't you dare ever give up. Because I've had people in my life just give up and, you know, not try anymore. And, you know, I don't want that. I just don't want that. And is my way a hell of a lot more work? Yeah. But there's also more joy and pride. And, you know, I feel good about myself, you know, that I'm moving forward and helping people with their drinking and telling my dad's story and my story. And, you know, it might be a little tough right now financially, but that'll change because I'm not going to give up. So there you go. Romola-ism.
Romola Hodas, everyone. Wow. You know what? I could talk to you like forever. This could not be your first and only time on here. We have to do it again, Romola.
Oh, sure. I would love to.
Thank you so much for talking to us on So Booking Cool today. It was really great talking to you. And, you know, everyone out there, The Princess of the 42nd Street, that book is a must read. And it is
Amazon.com.
Yes. And how else can they keep up with you, Romola?
My website for my book is Romola.com. ROM like Mary, OLA.com. And if any of you, you know, have drink a little too much or know somebody that does, Creating Harmony, MM, that's for mindful moderation. So it's Creating Harmony, MM.com. You know, just get in touch with me and we can talk and see, you know, if you're interested in learning how to get a handle on that. It's really good to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And are there any final thoughts that you might want to add, Romola?
I just hope that people out there decide to figure out what makes them happy and go figure it out. Go figure out how to really, really talk kind and loving and patient with yourself so you can feel good in life. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. And to all the listeners, until next time, So Booking Cool.